Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video has been a long time coming. I posted about it a few weeks ago. And I honestly tried to film it before, but it wasn't good. It wasn't what you people deserve from me. So I'm redoing it, making it better. By the title, you can tell that this video is going to be some, not all, because I have many, but some of my unpopular opinions. If I did all of them in one video, it'd be like 2 hours long and all of you would hate me by the end. So we're just gonna go through like 5. Okay, so my first opinion, that will probably annoy some people, and I feel like a good amount of you are gonna disagree with simply because it's probably affected you. In my opinion, U2 isn't that bad. I fully understand that Bono himself is a douchebag.
So I'm suggesting that the Senate send in Amy Schumer and Chris Rock and Sacha Baron Cohen. And
not all of U2's music is great, okay? They have some really good songs. And just to be transparent with you guys, my mom is kind of like a U2 super fan. She has a U2 tattoo. She's been to like over a dozen of their concerts. She's a dedicated fan, to say the least. Like, what Bowie is to me, U2 is to her. Like, it's that level of obsession and love and admiration. So I heard a lot of U2 growing up. And I don't think that necessarily affects whether or not I like U2, because my older brother grew up in like the same circumstances where my mom's like a super fan, playing U2 all the time. Always listening to U2, like 9 out of 10 times what's gonna be like in her CD player in her car at the time, like when I was growing up. It was gonna be a U2 CD, like it was just, that's what it was. But because of that, I have heard a lot of U2 in my life. And there are some albums that really resonate with me that have some really great lyrics, great instrumentals, like Octane Baby, All That You Can't Leave Behind, Pop, Boy, obviously Joshua Tree. Those are some really good albums for the most part. Where U2 made their mistake, and I think it actually probably had to really like hinder their career, was in 2014. The greatest mistake U2 ever made. They debuted their album, Songs of Innocence, exclusively to iTunes, and it went on to over 500 million Apple users' music library. And a lot of people to this day still cannot actually rid themselves of that album.
A lot of people who were, uninterested in U2, who are now, mad at U2, which, as far as we're concerned, is an improvement.
Forcing your music onto a wide demographic, and especially with like the way that some people just cannot get rid of it still, it was a really bad move. And I remember the backlash at the time. It was a bad move. I think because Bono's kind of a douchebag, like he was like, oh, it's free, like we're giving the public like a free album, they should appreciate it. Like, no, you can't just do that. Like, people are like hypercritical, and even as like someone who just like said that YouTube has some good songs, I didn't particularly like that album. I think there's like one song I like off of it. Not a good career move, kind of a flop. And I understand that's why a lot of people won't even give U2 a chance, but you should. Because there's some things in there, There's some good music hidden in there. Richard Nixon was not a bad president, and he does not deserve all of the shit talking that is done on him on a regular basis. He was actually like a really good president.
The interests of the nation must always come before any personal considerations.
Nixon's presidency was actually filled with like a lot of really positive accomplishments. And like, yeah, he kind of fucked up. He fumbled the ball or whatever the fuck the sports term is. But honestly, if you like compare it to like other things that like presidents have done, like I feel like drone strikes on children, like I feel like that's like worse. Crazy drone strikes are like significantly worse to do as like a person and as a president, but whatever. He ended the Vietnam War and like brought troops home, ended the draft by signing the Paris Peace Accord. That was like a really major deal. He initiated the movement to get desegregation in schools in the South. He oversaw all of that. But like, yeah, he's so horrible because of like Watergate. He was involved in getting the voting age lowered from 21 to 18. And really that's just like a small, tiny little chunk of like the things that he achieved while he was in office. Like there's so much more to his presidency, and like, just like on a personal level, I find his background so interesting. Like I really just don't think that like Nixon deserves all this like shit talking that's constantly thrown his way, and like the bad light that is constantly put on him.
I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first. America needs a full-time president and a full-time Congress, particularly at this time with problems we face at home and abroad.
I just really fundamentally, morally, as like a human being, just don't agree with it. Like there have been far worse presidents, and honestly, I feel like it's better to resign. He did the right thing, and like he gets shit for it, and I just don't understand it. I love Nixon. Okay, so this one's this one might make some people mad, I don't know. Okay, this opinion is possibly like distasteful and unagreeable opinion of mine, is that I think that like hate speech should actually be, I think it should be like allowed on social media platforms, and also like it should be okay for people to say it in public to some degree. Obviously, like if someone's going like out of line, like just like won't stop, that's a different thing. But like if someone just makes a comment, I don't think that they should legally get in trouble for it. I think that like because social media is so big and you could just like spread news so fast, I think we should just let people's like words on their own speak for themselves. Like the Kanye West Nazi Hitler thing, for example, for like a few days people were like allowed to upload clips of Kanye West on Alex Jones' show saying the things he said about Hitler and Nazis, whatever, and then it was like banned. Like you cannot upload anything like that with it because it will block it from being seen. And I just feel like that's the wrong thing to do. If you really want to put out the narrative that Kanye West is a hateful anti-Semite person, like you would want that information proving it to be easily accessible. But as far as I can tell, like the only way you can really like firsthand watch that now is to go directly to Alex Jones' website. So in the long run, like by censoring that on YouTube, you're actually leading to more people going directly to the source of Alex Jones, who like if you don't agree with the things he says and like puts out into the world, why would you want to lead people to go right to his website and have to watch like a 3-hour thing instead of just letting that clip be shown on YouTube? It makes no sense to me. Don't you want it to be easily proven that Kanye is hateful towards Jewish people and like praised Hitler? Like if he did, like why shouldn't that be able to be proven easily? If it's such a problem, I just don't understand. And I think if people had the freedom to speak more freely and knew that they wouldn't get like in trouble necessarily, like legal trouble for saying these horrible, hateful things, they would say them more freely and they'd be exposed for being a piece of shit. And I feel like society would respond appropriately. We don't always need like legal measures to come in or like be blocked like in a public way from like saying something. I think if people just receive the backlash that they maybe should receive for saying really like racist or hateful things, well, like that could be that. Like, and I feel like that would affect them more than anything like legally will or anything like on social media will. I hope I made that clear and I was able to word that in a way that like makes sense. Yeah. Okay, next opinion. Prostitution should be like legalized and regulated. There's so many reasons I can name, but just like let's start in like a most like general aspect. It's legal for you to pay to have sex with somebody and record it, but it's illegal for you to just pay to have sex with somebody and not record it.
Let's do it.
Both of you are under arrest for prostitution.
It's not prostitution.
You paid her to have sex.
No, I paid her to have sex and we're filming it. So technically it's not prostitution, it's a porno.
Oh, Well, as long as you're filming and selling it, it's legal.
But obviously, prostitution is a far more like nuanced topic than that. But I think just like in Nevada, like I've known people who have experienced some of the like prostitutes in Nevada that was legal, and it seems so much safer. For one, it would get like prostitutes off the streets. It would make sure that all these people that are being paid to sleep with other people are clean, like STDs, like all that kind of stuff checked regularly. It would be safer because like people wouldn't be just like beating the fuck out of prostitutes or like killing prostitutes, leaving them for dead, you know? Or even sometimes just ripping them off. Like everything would be so much safer for the girls involved. Obviously, that would mean that like only willing people would be put into it. That would eliminate pimps and all these people. And I think one of the main reasons prostitution isn't legalized and probably won't be legalized anytime soon is because that would require law enforcement to put significantly more effort into giving a shit about prostitutes. It could be of age prostitutes or even underage ones, and it could be obvious that they weren't even willingly put into it. But if they go missing or turn up dead, cops literally don't give a singular fuck about what happened to them. You can look at the statistics, like you can see whenever one turns up missing or murdered, it's hardly ever really taken seriously or looked into or investigated in any real way. Like if their crimes ever are solved, it's because somebody else who's not a prostitute got murdered and just so happens to be connected to the same murderer. It's almost never because people actually seriously pursued what happened to these girls. Like the safety is the most important thing to me, and like why I would want prostitution legalized, because like obviously if it's legal and there's like certain ways it's supposed to be like implicated into society, if you see just a pimp on the street who's whoring out like 3 underage girls, it'll be significantly more obvious what's going on, and like maybe you should like have to look into it. And I just don't think anyone wants to put the effort forward into caring about prostitutes, even if they're underage girls who are forced into it. Like it's just it's insane to me when you look at the numbers. It's clear that law enforcement does not care about these girls in any capacity, and it's actually kind of sad. And it's another one of those things where even if you try to suppress it and ban it, it's still going to be happening. It's still going to happen whether it's legal or illegal. The most important difference is the safety factor in that. Like, it's very dangerous for girls to be trafficked, and most of the time they're forced into it or manipulated into it and then not able to quit out of fear of somebody or like maybe a group of people, and like they're scared for their lives, literally. And it's a really bad cycle that they're in, and it just we need to care more about prostitutes. This last one, because I'm just going to keep it at 5 opinions for this video. And if you guys want like a second video where I share more, let me know. The final opinion for this video is, if Kurt Cobain hadn't have died, whether it was suicide or like Courtney Love's crazy ass like killed him, Kurt Cobain's death definitely brought back Nirvana and then elevated them to a status that I don't think they would have achieved or maintained had he have continued to live. Almost everybody who dies, including David Bowie, including Prince, Michael Jackson, Chester Bennington, just anyone who dies, like their music is suddenly going to like get more plays, get more of society listening to them. But at the time when Kurt Cobain died, their most recent album was not doing well, not selling well, it was not reviewed well. They were kind of on the decline. And once Kurt Cobain was found dead, that album that sucked ass went from 72 on the Billboard music charts to 27. And then their like first 3 studio albums went up on the charts. And I just think that people stayed nostalgic about Kurt Cobain for some reason. And they just get far more credibility and praise than I really think they should have. Like, I think if Kurt Cobain would have stayed alive and they would have continued to make music, I think that the music they would have made would have really ruined their own reputation. Like, it would have been trash, garbage, like not worth listening to. I don't think that they would have the notoriety that they have today. I don't think they'd be playing on the radio as much as they are today if Kurt Cobain would have stayed alive and they would have continued to make music. I think they would have killed their own careers. I just think that Nirvana is severely overrated, and I attribute a lot of it to Kurt Cobain's death. And a lot of people in my real life have gotten mad at me for saying that. Like, I'm not saying it just to like be like opposing to like the general narrative about Nirvana. That's just genuinely how I feel. Like, I feel the same way. Like, I love Janis Joplin, but her career and her name wouldn't be as big as they are if she wouldn't have dropped dead as young as she did. Like, it's just a thing. And that is it for now. Tell me in the comments if you agreed with any of my opinions or which ones you agreed with. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you didn't, suck a dick. Thanks for watching anyway, bitch. But seriously, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you, you'll see me next time. Bye, guys.